Zest is in, where resilience begins, not fixing the cracks.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Zest is in with me, Shel Marie, the podcast that'll take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. I am super excited to welcome my guest today, Hans. He is a breathwork facilitator and transformational coach, helping high-performing leaders break free from addiction, emotional suppression, and unconscious patterns. Through his deeply embodied work, he guides people back to presence, self-worth, and inner freedom. Beyond success or status, opening the door to a powerful question: what happens when we stop performing and finally learn to breathe, feel, and truly live? I am super excited to explore that more. Thank you. And if you feel called, I invite you to share a little love by helping amplify my guest's voice by subscribing for future episodes. It costs you absolutely nothing, but allows this powerful episode and the wisdom shared here today to reach many more hearts and minds. So if you have done so already, thank you. And may this episode bring you the clarity, emotional freedom, and a deeper connection to yourself. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Shel, for the beautiful introduction. I really appreciate it, and I'm honored to be here and excited having this conversation with you.
Beautiful. And thank you so much for your lovely words. And me too, I'm very curious because even in the intro and all you've shared with me previously, there's so many different factors that are into play right now, I feel, that you are showing up and supporting people with, which is beautiful. And I'm just intrigued how it all not began, because I don't believe there's ever a true beginning, but how everything has fed into everything else in order for you to be stepping into, I believe, your truth right now. I know but whatever comes to mind, I know it's a very complex question that I just asked.
I think the catalyst was my own struggle and disconnection from myself and finding a way out and finding a solution to fill this inner void that I was experiencing.
Yeah. I'm sure not just me, but many people can really relate to that. And is that where the breath came from? Because I think when people don't understand about breathwork, or have not even understand, that have never really experienced it or hear about it, it can often, I think, to people feel a little bit like, I don't know, I think back to the first time I heard about it, and it's kind of like, hold on a second, you're teaching people how to breathe. We know how to breathe, but it's almost like a ha-ha, isn't it? Because babies know how to breathe. And actually, until we truly really be conscious of it, we realize actually most of the time we're not breathing how we're supposed to breathe. So I just love your take on that.
Yes, thank you so much. I never in my life imagined becoming a breathwork facilitator. It had never been on my mind. I had totally different goals with my life. It's all kind of a coincidence, and as I mentioned, part of my own struggle. And when I heard people say that breathing can help about anxiety, my first thought, how can that help against anxiety, depression?
Yes.
And like you said, we all breathe. Babies breathe automatically. That's the first thing we do when we enter this life, and the last thing we do when we leave. And babies automatically breathe into the diaphragm. They automatically do baby breathing, belly breathing. But throughout our childhood, a lot of us forget how to efficiently breathe because of moments when we feel fear or tension. We start holding our breath, and eventually we develop a shallow chest breathing without even being consciously aware of it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, and I love that you, and I had a feeling that you would say that because about the you wasn't even thinking about that to start with, because it's so interesting that the paths and journeys and the ways we almost start to navigate and become is so interesting because often they are so opposite to what we would ever have imagined for our life. And I think that's a really, really nice, grounding, relatable thing for other people to hear, you know, because often someone listening right now could be like, I've got no idea what direction I want to turn in. I don't know why I'm listening to this episode. I don't know. But actually, and I feel like you will touch on this a little bit more, we do know. But it doesn't always look like the way we think we know.
Yes, I think you're 100% right. Deep inside, we know, but maybe we don't allow or admit that we know because we think where we want to go is not possible, or we have other things in mind, for example, fulfilling expectations of our parents or society or siblings. And then we have deep inside this knowing where our heart wants to go, but our mind says, no, you need to go this direction instead.
Absolutely. And another thing you really touched on that was super important because I noticed you said you questioned, like, what has breathing got to do? I know you didn't say it like that. I just always add a bit of zest to it, sorry. But what has breathing got to do with anxiety? But then the example you gave, just that visual example, actually shows the link so clearly because you said, you know, in those moments where we hold our breath, well, what is that? That's something that's startling us. That's something that we're not feeling safe in our nervous system about often. Or I know, yes, okay, equally it could be a surprise or something, but in general, the example you gave, I think, so beautifully highlights how this ends up happening and how almost we have to relearn what we already knew.
Yes, that's beautiful. A lot of us have to relearn what we already know. And it is this unconscious knowledge that we hold within us that we can bring to the conscious through mindfulness practices, breathwork, and just becoming aware what's really going on inside.
Beautiful, really beautiful. And can you take us back to maybe a time where, because I know from myself who always looked composed and all together on the outside, but very much had so much, if you'd like to call, chaos and external, internal loudness and all sorts going on the inside. I know that it's not always you listen to something and then you connect to it and then that's it. I'm that now. I know it's a long process. So when was the moment that, and I'm sure there was multiple moments, that you truly started to go more within and really listen to the guidance within you and block out a little bit? Well, you might not have done this. Obviously, if I'm making any assumptions, please correct me. But realize that maybe the path that you were on wasn't actually aligned with who you really truly felt at your core. Does that make sense?
Yes. It is a long story, but I'm going to try to keep it short. After high school, I started studying electrical engineering. My goal was to fulfill my parents' and society expectations. And I had in mind to pick a job that creates financial wealth and stability. I then ended up working after college in our family business. Again, I didn't choose that path because I wanted to, just because I thought that's what expected me and the fastest way to wealth. However, over 8 years, I developed opiate addiction, depression, and anxiety. And I started questioning, is this what life is really about? I felt empty inside. I felt I was not following my heart, that knowing that we were talking about earlier, knowing what I want.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting there. I wasn't living the life I wanted to. And eventually I just knew something had to change. I got married, I had a child, and I said, if nothing changes now, I'm going to be a terrible father. I'm going to be a disappointment to my children, and I'm going to be the failure that I believe I am.
And I'm sure, thank you so much for expressing that, but I'm sure now with we only know what we know, and with what you know now, you actually going back to that time and expressing such powerful affirmations about yourself and over your life, that equally plays a lot into what we then create and see. And I know that you absolutely, well, I'd hope so, that you do not believe that of yourself anymore. And that I just think I am only expressing it like that because I was someone too who used to speak very, very harsh affirmations over myself and what I believed of myself, consciously or unconsciously. And that's not a quick feeding yourself. Often you think it's your words, but sometimes it's very much not your words. And feeding yourself that for so long, there's definitely such a process to undo that. And I just want anyone listening right now to see, I just really feel like I want to highlight this too, so thank you so much, to see this incredible man now in front of us who has such a calming, kind, really, really safe presence, okay? And so for you to have expressed that, it's like two different men. And so I really want people to really listen to what you are sharing in this episode, because I think so many people hold us to a version that was never truly us, and we allowed ourselves to be that version when we never were that version. And I'm sure you were still an incredible dad, but because you had such I can't think of the word. Sometimes the words, you feel what I'm trying to say, but because you gave yourself such a hard time, you believed that you were that when you probably never were. So I just really want to say thank you for expressing that.
Yes, I was trying to fulfill that version without being able to, because it wasn't me. And that trying and failing to be someone who I'm not created this harsh narrative with, you are not good enough, you are such a loser, you're such a failure. And you mentioned earlier that you look good to the outside, but inside there was chaos. And that's how I felt. I was making a lot of money. I looked like I have everything anyone can dream of, but inside there was a total disconnection and chaos. And the more I was trying to create that person, the more I was feeding this negative narrative about who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you touched on again, another really powerful point, is this is not saying that you cannot be successful, have everything you want, and then you're deeply unhappy. That is absolutely not what we're saying. What we're just saying is how choices we made, often sometimes not aligned with what we really truly felt at our core, created that external, even if you had the biggest house, the best car, the money. It's something inside that I feel, and I would love your take on this, that it keeps knocking. It keeps knocking. You could be at the best beach club or whatever it is anyone wants. You could be here, but if you haven't answered something within that is crying sometimes for attention, it's like it just keeps doing this. Doesn't matter where you are, you'll have those days, and then and that's how I felt, because even at the time where I guess you could say I awakened, or I realized that something wasn't quite me inside, I was outwardly living the best time of my life. Absolutely best time. Obviously, I can't speak for the future, and I'm not saying like right now is not that, but externally how it looked, I shouldn't have been. I should have been so happy. But it's something within. It's not something you can take a nice photo of. Would you say?
Yes, absolutely, 100% agree. Unless you find that inner fulfillment, no matter what accumulate in your life, you're just creating, or I was just creating a bigger disconnection.
Yeah.
And the unhappy I felt, the more I tried to accumulate things, wealth, money, experiences, and creating a bigger disconnection. And like you said, it's that little, I don't know what words you use, that little child inside crying. It'll try to this child, and he was trying to get all the attention it could. And like child, if you ever raise child, if they don't get positive attention, they will create negative attention.
Yes.
For me, it was drug addiction, self-destructive behavior, negative impact, and that it gets louder and louder until you start listeing and realize, wait a minute, there's something more than what I'm trying to achieve in this world.
Absolutely. And you know, every time I really speak to, I will put it out there, influential leaders like you, it's because often, not saying everyone has to go through that, but because you've had that lived experience and you know what that really feels like, I feel like that sometimes is why it feeds into then the roles, if you like, the titles, whatever you want to call it, that we actually are the embodiment of. I know I expressed that in the start of your introduction, more than just like, oh, I'm doing this now. No, it's not the doing, it's the being. But in you being, you can be not every day, but be full enough to extend to others. And I think I feel like that's what you are definitely embodying, which is beautiful.
Being-based leadership versus doing-based leadership, right? If you are in the moment and your action are based on who you are and not on what success you're achieving, that can make a huge difference in how you start interacting with the world and those around you.
Absolutely. And I heard this really powerful example actually of, I can say as much as I want, say to you, okay, you from what I see of you, you are, but unless you believe it. So there is an element, even when we connect with these coaches, we listen to these podcasts, we connect with these talks, we have these mentors. There's still a huge part. In fact, the golden ticket, I believe, is yes, reach out and contact incredible speakers that and not just speakers, but coaches and mentors and leaders like yourself. But equally, know that you need to be ready to do the work, because essentially, if you don't believe it, you're kind of again then putting something else on a pedestal. So you know, when we said about say the drinking, the whatever it is. I'm not saying that was on a pedestal, but that was what we were going to in for our source of whatever joy, fulfillment, whatever it was. And it escalates. Whereas the moment we kind of, and it's not a quick process, but we kind of take down that pedestal and we connect with others, which is super important, but then equally we believe and know ourselves that we can do it. I think that combination altogether is super powerful. What do you think about that?
In breathwork, I always say breathwork is about reclaiming your power.
Yeah.
In my belief, no one has any power over us other than the power we give to them.
Yes. Yes.
And it has been my experience with drugs, substances, that they don't have any power over me unless I give them power. And that was one of the turning points in my life. I was blaming all the substances for my depression and anxiety, and I was trapped in this thought pattern of guilt and regret. If I hadn't made those choices, because of the drugs, I'm depressed. Because of the drugs, I don't know what to do with my life. I feel like a failure. And the moment I started seeing how necessary these experiences were in my life to get me to where I am, I suddenly started seeing gratitude for my past lifestyle choices, and that took all the power away. I stopped giving my power. I stopped blaming drugs. I stopped blaming other people, and I reclaimed my power over those substances.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wow, thank you so much. And I think even in someone hearing that today, it's so powerful, and that's exactly the process almost I took. Like, I remember hearing, oh, forgiveness, and you know, every time you're pointing your finger out, three are back at you. And I remember being so deeply triggered and wounded by them all the time. But that's feedback. So now I'm like, thank goodness I was, because it triggered me. And even that word, even the sound of that word and the way it's been created, you know, almost gives this like contraction, you know. But actually sometimes our greatest teachers are the harshest feedback we could receive, because we almost like want to prove them wrong, whether we know that's going on, whether you're conscious of it or unconscious of it. And in doing that, I believe you receive more of the gems, and then you're, okay, oh, I get it now. And I just think it's such a transformative process and journey. So really, thank you so much for all you've been expressing. And I know that you relate to breath as a gateway. So I'd just love to know more about that.
Yes, I see breathwork as a catalyst for tapping into unused human potential. Gateway is a direct access to our subconscious mind, to what's going on under our thinking pattern. It can pull us right into the present moment and become more aware of seeing as all these triggers that you mentioned, these pains, see them as little encouragement to grow, to step out of the current pattern or the narrative. When I first started meditating, and I hear that for many people, I sat down and said, I cannot meditate, my mind doesn't shut up. But that's not the idea. The idea is not to get the mind to shut up, but become aware and present of what's going on. Yeah. And when I had my first breathwork session, so I do two things. I teach people simple breathing techniques that they can use on a daily basis, but I also facilitate breathwork sessions, which are 1 hour long, and they shouldn't be done alone. They're accompanied with music. And when I did my first one, it is a very deep, diaphragmatic, conscious, connected breathing rhythm. And I remember thinking, this is way too hard. I cannot keep this up anymore. And that was a last thought I had for the next hour. And I became aware my body was doing this breath without me doing anything.
Wow.
And I was just aware, and there was inner stillness.
Beautiful.
And when I came out of that breathwork session, I started questioning everything I believed about myself, because I realized without that inner narrative, there's something much more powerful, and there's a choice I have. And I realized that all my depression and anxiety were created by my mind, but without getting out of that mind, tapping into the stillness, there was just suddenly bliss and peace. And that is really what changed my whole life's trajectory.
Wow. And even in you sharing that example, thank you. I think it often, I feel, shows the patterns of life sometimes, of almost like the breakthrough is just before that not always little, but that discomfort. And if you gave in to that discomfort before you just allowed it to be that little bit more, I'm not putting words in your mouth about the word discomfort, obviously, like please correct me, but I mean, like, you were questioning, you were sitting, you were questioning, and almost just about to give up, and then I felt you got the breakthrough. And I just want people to really think back to a time of how many times, and I know this has happened multiple times in my life and will continue to happen, but how many times when it just gets that little bit uncomfortable, or you get that bit reactive, or whatever it is, do we give up? And we are so close. Like, look at now what you are creating, because you allowed that, you allowed yourself to really stick at it, stay at it, and then you had such a profound transformation. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, and breathwork, I always say, the only way past is through. There's no way around, and I'm sure you've heard that many times before in other modalities.
Yeah.
That is getting out of this comfort zone. As long as we stay within the comfort zone, there's no growth. There's no way of stepping out of the old paradigms. I like to compare it like a seed. I like to compare as humans as a seed, and it takes certain resistance to push through that shell of the ego that's protecting us. And I always mention that before the breathwork session. Discomfort came up. People can come up. People start feeling tension in their body. People start feeling temperature changes. Sometimes fear, anxiety come up. And if that's the moment they give up, then they will stay in the old paradigm, and that fear will come back unless they are ready and willing to face it and push through. And I've heard several people tell me after a breathwork session, I'm so glad you mentioned it. I started feeling this discomfort. I didn't want to do it, but I remembered what you said and I kept breathing. And I'm forever grateful for this little piece of advice.
Well, you just, I believe, sorry for the expression, but hit the nail on the head, because the amount of times I remember my first ever meditation or whatever, and I remember even the word namaste and things like that, I remember being told what to do, which often again is, quite linked to our childhood in a way. It's like, how many times do we get told, not everyone, but do this, and there's no explanation. I asked you to, and I'm not comparing your session to that, but there's so many things that because I would love your take on this, until our nervous system, because often, like what you said about the shell, which is so powerful, is it's going, Mayday, Mayday, even if it's the most beautiful external experience, our mind is constantly like, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? And we are searching, whether we are conscious or unconscious of it, when it's something new. And I think there's so much power in you experiencing that, so that you can lead with that in order to to kind of calm that mind and that nervous system for others in order for them to get that breakthrough. I think that's so powerful. And that's why I think sometimes we go through what we grow through, because there's such an important part now, I believe, to your practice because of what you experience, and then you are able to provide that little insight for others in order for them to just hold on that little bit longer. I think it's amazing.
I don't know if you're familiar with Art Berg, but he said, while the possible takes a lot of time, the impossible just takes a little bit longer. And you mentioned something very important, that if the nervous system doesn't feel safe, it's almost impossible to do the things that scare me. But through breathwork, that is one of the most important things, to create a space where people feel safe, to release emotions, to let go, to stop trying to control, but to surrender to whatever's happening. And once I experienced that through the breathwork session, then I noticed just through conscious breathing, I can on a daily basis teach my nervous system that it is safe. Whenever I start feeling anxiety, whenever I go into a challenging, confronting situation, just going back to the breath, just the 3 conscious deep breathings, belly breathings, helps train the nervous system that it is safe.
Absolutely. And am I right in saying you offer this online and in person, or just online? What services do you offer, just for the people listening?
I offer it online and in person. There are benefits for both. In person can be extremely beneficial because people feel safer and protected. Also, if you do it in groups, you start hearing other people release emotions moving. That can trigger something inside of you and help you release more emotions. I've also heard some people told me they've done several in-group, in-person breathwork sessions with me, and eventually they did an online session, and they said they felt so much safer because there were no other people in the room, and that really helped them to let go and release. Because so there's benefits for both, and it also depends very much on person to person.
Absolutely, and I can imagine both, because I think I can see both perspectives of it's nice to have that connection and that in-person experience, but equally I think it's particularly those first few sessions, we are all reading the room still. Our mind is still like, am I safe? Am I safe? No matter what, it's a new experience. So naturally, I think unless you have created your own space, you're in your home or wherever you are, and because you can mute and no one can hear you or whatever it is, I can see both perspectives, and I just think it's amazing what you are providing for people. And for anyone listening, please reach out to this incredible man and find out more information. And the beauty of now being so global is we don't have to just have whoever is up the road, even if they're the best of the best. We can connect with whoever we want at any time and make it happen, which I know you talked about earlier. So really, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for this deep conversation. There's so much freedom when you tap, as Viktor Frankl called it, the little pause between the stimulus and the response, because there is choice. And then we have a choice how we interact, what we take personal, or I have a choice how I interact with the world, what I do, what meaning I give to things, and what stories I tell myself about myself, or what stories I want to create in life.
Beautiful. And that's the thing, isn't it? Is we are so powerful in all aspects. So just constantly question and be loving and as kind and as graceful to yourself through all different transitions in your life as much as possible. You have been an incredible guest, and equally, if there's something that you really felt like you hadn't expressed that you still want to, like, feel free, this is your time. But I also want to be conscious of your time, and I appreciate you showing up. So yeah, if there's anything else, feel free to share it, but really thank you.
Yes, I think we touched on the most important things.
Beautiful.
Just a few words about reclaiming your power. I mentioned it briefly. It's so easy to blame others, to blame substances, to blame your circumstances. However, as long as I was blaming others, I failed to take responsibility. And the only way to create the life you want to, or I want to, is by creating responsibility, not only for my own actions, but also how I feel inside, about my emotions, and what I do with the information I receive. Before everything is information, everything helps us to see where we are in life. Yeah. And in order to get where I want to be, I need to know exactly where I am. But while I'm blaming others, not taking responsibility, while I'm numbing my emotions, feelings, running away from them, avoiding them, I get lost. And
absolutely.
Once I understand, become aware where I am and why I'm here, then I can get to where I want to go.
Incredible. Thank you so much. And I feel like you touched on it, but I always say at the end, if there's anything you feel like someone listening right now in this very moment would really benefit from hearing, what would you tell them?
I think doing inner personal work is not selfish. It's a service to everyone in your life, to humanity. And for me, it's been one of the best things I've done in my life for myself and others. And it is a commitment. It is not easy. It can be challenging. It'll bring up everything that I've been avoiding all my life, everything that I've been afraid of. But again, there's so much freedom in the other side.
Absolutely. I always think of it like a Pandora box that you're like, ooh, no, try to slam it shut. But really, if you really like, just take it out, look at it, clean it up, whatever it is, I promise you, and I agree with you 100%, it is going to change your life. And what you so beautifully highlighted, others around you so much, because we are energetic, whether people believe that or not. And we have, through the way we speak, the way we show up, the way we act, we all are constantly exchanging with one another. And the more we step into who we are at our core and own that, we kind of not say it, but give permission for others to do that as well. And I think that's super beautiful. So really, thank you. You've been an incredible guest, and I've loved creating this episode with you.
Yes, thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much for all your questions. They're always good to help me understand myself better. And yeah, I hope this will be an inspiration to whoever is listening.
Absolutely. Really, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's the magic that Zest is in.